Hey, today I want to summarize a little bit what are the 5 most common mistakes that junior UX designers make, and I'm basing it on over 500 different resumes, portfolios and case studies that I had the chance to actually review this year. Number 1, portfolio. So this is the main important thing that people are looking for while trying to recruit you, and if your portfolio only has one project, the one that you've done during the course or during the class, this is a major red flag for these recruiters. Basically what it means for them is that you're lazy and unmotivated. And even if that's not the truth, sorry, this is how they're gonna see it. If you just have one project in your portfolio, that means you never took the time and effort to actually explore anything on your own. So you just did what you were told this one time during the course or during the bootcamp, and after that you just simply decided to watch Netflix and chill and wait for the jobs to just come knocking at your door. Besides, becoming really good at anything takes blood, sweat, tears and all that. So if you never really spent the time and committed in any way, that means that basically you're off the chart. Number 2. Focusing too much on design tools. This is something that I noticed happen quite a lot. People are saying things like, I know Figma at 4 out of 5 stars, and let me just break it to you right away. Nobody cares. Design tools nowadays all look pretty much the same. They work very similarly. So if you know one of them, you'll surely be able to actually learn the other one in a couple of days. So nobody really cares about the design tools that you know, they much prefer to see your portfolio. Number 3, case studies without the UI. Unless you're aiming to be a researcher, which is by the way just fine, your case studies, if you want to be a designer, should actually have some design in it, not just the writing. People, including recruiters, which is like a separate group of people, a separate subset of the human race, they all are visual creatures. So basically what we are drawn to is the pretty things that we like, things that we notice, things that we appreciate visually. So this is really important to stand out, and this is also really important to have any chance of people actually reading our case study. Because if all you present is some text and some gray wireframes and a very long block of content, then what you can expect is the too long didn't read effect. Most people will simply get bored with it and never get through it, and I don't think this is what you want, unless it is. So for best results, wrap your case study in a UI sandwich. Basically place something really pretty on the top and really pretty on the bottom, and then you can have that too long didn't read case study text in the middle, which basically all of the recruiters only scan through. They don't really read the entire case study, they don't care about your personas. They just want to see if you actually created most of the so-called UX process in the process of making your case study. So this is all they're looking for, and the visuals is what actually is gonna make them make the decision faster. You can start with a nice set of mockups, high fidelity UI design at the top of your case study, and then simply add the text and then finish it off with a couple more screens. Just don't duplicate the ones from the top, because you know that's gonna be lazy as well. Just find some other screens or some different scenario or some different way of showing them, and then finish it off with that nice visual as well. Because ultimately, if they see something nice at the top, they will start scrolling, they will get through all that too long didn't read content, and then when they see something really nice at the bottom, that can actually make them make the right decision of contacting you and getting you the job. Number 4. Typos in your resume or in your case studies or your projects. This is like a very big problem, and many people actually do it. This is just very lazy, and it really is a deal breaker for many companies, including ourselves. If I see a typo in the era of modern spell checkers being built into pretty much every tool, then I see that somebody didn't even take the time to see if something got that little red underline, and yeah, that's a very strong red flag. So if you don't check your text for typos, and especially in your resume, that means you're lazy, and that means your chances of getting the job are gonna be a lot lower. And number 5, applying randomly. Let's say you're a UX designer, a junior UX designer, and you're looking for your very first UX job. So of course the natural thing would be to just send applications everywhere. Even if something just barely touches the UX field, that should be good enough, I'm gonna send it anyway. So here's an example. You prefer to do design instead of research, and there is a purely research role available, so you apply to that. Or you prefer to do the low fidelity wireframes because you don't feel as comfortable with the high fidelity yet, and there is a role for purely UI design oriented things, and you apply to that. And what's gonna happen is that you'll get rejected based on your portfolio that doesn't show the research or that doesn't show the high fidelity wireframing, and you're gonna waste your time. And you know what, that time could have been better spent off updating your portfolio or adding more projects to it. Instead, identify what you're best at and simply evaluate the companies and the roles and the job applications or the job postings against that. So you need to apply to basically the companies that need you, not something else around UX or not just UX designers. It needs to be very specific and it needs to be catering to your strengths, because we can't really be great at everything, at least not initially. And what's also cool, that if you go to a job interview, if you get invited to it and they're gonna ask you why you applied to this particular role or this particular job, you can tell them that because actually this is what you're the best at, this is your strongest point. And if they had a job opening for more UI oriented stuff or more research, you wouldn't apply then, but this particular role is just for you. And people really appreciate honesty. It may be possible that there aren't that many job offers in the market. That means that you'll have to improvise a little bit, and also you'll have to probably reach out to some companies that aren't actively looking for designers, which is good because even if a company is not actively looking for designers, today, it's pretty safe to assume that they are looking for designers. They just don't want the hassle of actually posting job boards and, you know, all that stuff. Okay, first of all, don't send bulk emails to everyone, especially if you actually keep all the companies attached in the same email. I've gotten this so many times where I could see all of the competitors of Hype4, all of their emails in that same thread actually. So it becomes like a chain email of basically you trying to spam people, and yeah, that doesn't work. And the second most important thing about reaching out to companies yourself is to do your research and know what those companies do, because there's nothing worse than you get invited to an interview and you have no idea what the company does, and while asked you just make the stupid face, and yeah, that's a deal breaker for most companies as well. And that happened to me a couple of times, and it led to some awkward silence and then me asking them if they want some more water and then kind of showing them out and never replying to them again. And there are of course many more problems, but these 5, if you address these 5, your chances are drastically higher. So it's gonna be dramatically easier to actually get the job or even be considered for the job, because that still can be a win. It's not that you need to get every possible job from every possible application, but even, you know, as a junior being considered for a job, that means that it should give you the motivation to continue searching for the job, because that means that at least some people will find your skills good enough. And what I value the most, and what I think many smaller companies value as well, is that hard work and motivation. Because if you only have one great project versus you have like a lot of projects that aren't that great but show promise, I'm gonna pick the person that did more projects, because that means that they are motivated and ambitious, and many of those design things, design problems, these can be learned, and it's really hard to actually become motivated and ambitious if you haven't been that way before. So if you're more into Netflix and chill instead of self-improvement, it might limit your chances with companies like ours, but you always have the big corporations to apply to anyway. So yeah, good luck, like, subscribe, drink some water, and have a great day. Cheers.